As someone who prefers to seek out the more hidden video games, every once in a while I run into one that is so obtuse in concept and design, it causes me to run into hardship when covering it. That hardship being where a game is so different and unique that it leaves me baffled as to how and who I can recommend it to. And the game we're looking at today is one such game. greenTech Plus is a strategy game developed and published by Vertigo Gaming Inc. It initially released June 21st, 2010, but received a re-release in 2018 with the Vertigo Gaming Inc. Legacy Collection Bundle, making it available on Steam. greenTech Plus is a unique game in every possible way, but its repetitive gameplay and necessity for perfection make longer play sessions extremely frustrating. There is no plot to greenTech Plus, just an objective. That objective being to rid the world of pollution while attempting to not destroy it in the process. How greenTech Plus works is that it plays like a simulation, and is designed where it appears in the game that you are sitting at a computer controlling everything that is going on. A video game within a video game, if you will. How it works is in each level there are what I can only describe as doorways, each with their own number associated with them, generally being anything from 5 to 7, with later levels having higher amounts of doors. One by one these doors will release clouds of pollution, starting with doors marked 1, then 2, then 3 and so on. You control a hurricane of all things, and using the pull from that hurricane, you must lead the clouds of pollution towards the various cleansing factories scattered throughout the levels marked as circles. There are different types of these factories, and depending on what type they are, can hold a specific number of pollution clouds. A hollow circle, for example, can only take one pollution cloud before disappearing, while a full white circle can take several. Each level has high pressure zones that act as obstacles that need to be avoided when guiding to pollution clouds. If a cloud hits off one of these pressure zones, it disperses into the atmosphere, damaging it. If this happens too much within a level, the world would be destroyed and you'll need to start the level over. The same applies to the clouds hitting the player controlled hurricane too, causing even more damage than pressure zones, with the damage to the atmosphere shown in the top left of the screen as a percentage. And that is essentially what the game is. The player controlling a hurricane and attempting to cleanse the world of its pollution. It is a very unique form of gameplay. I've never heard nor seen anything like it before, making it a very interesting concept. The trick to the game is planning ahead of time and deciding where you're going to lead the clouds from each of the doors. If you don't do this, you end up with the last few doors being awkward and often running straight into pressure zones, due to the cleansing factories being at the other end of the map. So planning is key here. While the levels do get more challenging in their layout and with more clouds to disperse, the overall gameplay doesn't change throughout, leading to repetitiveness. This repetitiveness makes greenTech Plus a game that should be played in short durations, like 10 or 20 minutes here and there, to avoid it becoming boring. There is a useful tool at your disposal to help you in your mission. You can speed up or slow down time using the Z and X keys, allowing for faster movement when needed and for slower movement when needing a moment to plan or move clouds through tighter spots. In the early levels this isn't a tool that is needed very much, but later on in the more difficult of levels it becomes an absolute godsend. Without it, the game would be incredibly difficult. The biggest issue I have with greenTech Plus is it demands perfection. At the start of the game you will have 5 levels available to you. To unlock the next set of 5 levels you will need to gain a perfection run, that being completing a level without a cloud colliding with something on a number of the levels that are available to you. And this routine continues until you have unlocked all the levels, with the third set requiring 6 perfect levels. The problem with asking for perfection is that greenTech Plus isn't an easy game to get a perfect run in, even the easier the levels. All it takes is one little mistake and your perfect run is ruined. And unless you get those runs of perfection, the game limits your progress in it. Take Lemmings as an example. There is a reason it only asks for a certain number of lemmings to be saved in a level, otherwise it would dramatically slow down the progression more than the puzzles already do if they demanded perfection. A better approach to greenTech Plus would be to have a limit on how much pollution a level can have. Say finish 6 levels with 20% or less pollution or something like that. Perfection is asking for a bit much, and it overall makes the game very tedious and frustrating. As you progress through the game completing levels with perfect runs, you unlock new monitors. These monitors basically change the colour of the display from the default green to another like red, blue and all other kinds of colours. Some of the more challenging monitors to unlock are in 3D, giving a 3D appearance to them if you have 3D glasses, that is. The unlocks are a nice bonus, but they aren't quite enough of an incentive to go through the hardship of perfecting every level in the game. They are a cool novelty, but that is about all they are and don't add any depth to the game in any shape or form. Overall, the gameplay to greenTech Plus is interesting, unique and quite enjoyable. even if it does demand perfection. And while the unlockables are entirely novel, they do give the player something extra to aim for. It certainly beats being charged actual money to unlock things as a AAA company would. But it is a game that you should only play in short durations, as over time, frustration does begin to kick in. The atmosphere, much like the game itself, is a bit of an oddball. Throughout the entirety of the game there is a classical music playing, and when starting up the game you hear what sounds like a radio presenter talking prior to the music. It makes it feel like you are someone going about their usual daily routine where they're sitting there working their job with the radio on and classical music playing in their background. It works surprisingly well and fits in with the whole concept of greenTech Plus being a video game within a video game. It makes for a very mundane feeling with the atmosphere to mix in with the concept of the game that too is rather mundane, and I wish more games would create an atmosphere like this. At the end of the day, greenTech Plus is not my cup of tea personally, but it is still a good game. Despite its frustrations and not exactly being my kind of thing, greenTech Plus is a game that I'm glad I played. Its gameplay is unique and offers an experience like nothing else out there, and that is the whole purpose of it more than anything. The best way to describe greenTech Plus is that it is an experience rather than it being an actual outright video game. It is the atmosphere and the video game within a video game approach that really makes it feel that way. It is one of those experiences, shall we say, that you can't really recommend to any particular audience. I wouldn't necessarily call it a strategy game, nor would it be a puzzle game either. It is something entirely different stuck in between the two. So the best way I can recommend greenTech Plus to anyone is if you're looking for an experience, a mundane one at that, as opposed to what would be considered an actual video game, then it may be worth giving it a shot. And with that, I give greenTech Plus a 7 out of 10. As I've played more and more of Vertigo Gaming Inc's collection of games, I've grown a great admiration for them as a developer. Every single title is different, both in gameplay and genre, often stepping outside the traditional forms of what we perceive as a specific type of video game. Sometimes it works for them and sometimes it hasn't, but their decision to make oddball games and stray from the comforts of the typical forms of gaming is brave and inspiring, and I hope it is something they continue for many years to come.